All right. Hey there. Good morning. Here we go. It is Ben at 10. I'm meteorologist Ben Piney. Thanks for joining the show here this morning on this Wednesday, August the 27th, on just a wonderful Wednesday out there. It is phenomenal, just about perfect. Light jacket, sweatshirt, hoodie kind of morning out there. More upper 70s this afternoon, just a light breeze from the northwest. So just a combination of awesome ingredients across the area. As you can see, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, it is Wednesdays with Weddington. So after we dive deep into the forecast, we're going to dive deep into a conversation with local home builder Brad Weddington from Weddington Custom Homes. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below. Anything around the home. It could be about custom home building. It could be just about fixing your doors or windows or anything from the basement to the roof or around the yard. Drop in a question for Brad and we will put him to the test. And so this is the guy right there again, Weddington Custom Homes, and Brad Weddington. Again, in a few minutes we'll be popping him into the show. If you're watching the replay, feel free to drop in a question too, and we can always get to it a little bit later. But your weather headlines for our August the 27th. Dry pattern continues. The only tiny little rain chance that I'm seeing is maybe like Friday. We've got a front moving through, but it's so small I'm not even including it into the 7-day forecast. So rain chances look like they will return next week. We will need that. The weather pattern is awesome, this awesome autumn weather pattern, but a little bit too much on the dry side. So too much of a nice thing could lead to some drought conditions to watch out for. But for now, enjoy the fall-like conditions, upper 70s, low 80s through the long-range outlook. And that forecast today, the play ball forecast, 73 at noon, 77 for this afternoon, around 70 degrees at 8 p.m. So upper 70s for most locations for the maximum heating. But again, that just happens for a few hours during the afternoon. But a lot of the day, lower 70s. And then if you notice, if you're out yesterday evening, how quickly when that sun angle drops, those temperatures drop off. So we actually started this morning in the 40s over most locations. This is the Indiana Mesonet weather observation stations. And in Kentucky, in the 40s. Lexington, a new record low of 47 degrees. So how about that? Some rare late August air here on this hump day. So if you're just joining us, again, I'm meteorologist Ben Piney. We've got, as usual, Beverly Haggis tuning in. The first one here from Borden, Indiana, was up at 6:15 this morning with 48 degrees. That is a refreshing start. And we've got Christian Walker watching from up north in Carmel, Indiana, heading to Michigan tomorrow until Sunday, until Labor Day. That'll be a nice, cool spot. Beautiful in Michigan. I was there not last June, but the June before that, up there in Traverse City. So beautiful spot, no doubt about that. Let me go ahead and bring up some current conditions out there now. Again, some record lows over parts of the area. And just want to remind you, you can head to extolmag.com/weather. And we've got our live stream up there, interactive radar, which we won't need much of. We can put away the umbrellas for quite some time. And by the way, if you're tuning in here, feel free to say hello, drop in a question or comment into the comment section. We'll pop it on and let us know where you are watching from as well. Love to see that representation across the area from the cities and towns throughout southern Indiana and Kentucky and beyond as well. So as we bring up the big screen here, and again, no need for the radar. I mean, we've got to back way out. We've got a big area of high pressure over the region. So closest rain chances you can see over Iowa and out towards Oklahoma. But as we bring up the temperatures and zoom in a little bit, and of course you can do this at home as well. Our temps now down at the sun is up after 40s and 50s. We're now at 70 downtown Louisville, but some upper 50s, low 60s outside of the urban heat island of Louisville. So again, just a really refreshing start across the area. Looking at live cam out there at the Falls of the Ohio. I'll go ahead and bring that up full screen. There you can see the amazing conditions that we have across the area, and that will be continuing here for us for quite some time. Again, we'll have one front that moves through, but it's kind of moisture starved on Friday. That will give maybe a sprinkled chance in a couple of areas, but again, most locations will be staying dry. All right, I want to give one more look outside here at the beautiful blue sky at the corner of Vincennes and Market here in Uptown New Albany, where our live show is broadcasting from here in the Extol Media Studios. And again, if you're watching from whatever platform, thanks for liking or subscribing there, maybe Extol Media on YouTube. Notice at the bottom of your screen, we've got that scrolling there. And if you have any questions about anything around your home, your yard, we'll try to help you out with that with Brad Weddington, local home builder. Weddington Custom Homes is here with us today, right after the Digging Deep forecast. So that'll probably be around 10:15 or so. We'll talk to Brad. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes. We'll pop them into the show. Got a few more comments want to pop in. We've got a good morning here. I'll give you the credit on this weather. So nice to enjoy the coffee in the outdoors. Hey, when the weather's nice, I'll go ahead and take the credit for that. Cheers to you, Perry. We've got just straight dark roast in the big happy cup here this morning. And we've got Tim Furnish and North Vernon playing pickleball on their new courts. Beautiful weather out there. Be safe with that pickleball and enjoy up there in Jennings County. Like the farthest northeast we typically get our viewers. Mike Sievert, I believe, from Middletown. Thanks for watching there, Mike Sievert. Appreciate you tuning in. And again, we'll bring up Brad Weddington here in just a second. Christian, we are still working on that. We should be able to get that out here pretty soon for you. And if you have any weather questions at any point in time, please go ahead and reach out to me. Or if you want to join our partnership here or for advertising or sponsorship, you can learn more about that. Ben at extolmag.com or Jason at extolmag.com. And bringing back up to the show here is, again, this is where you can, if you want to play along, you can go to weddingtoncustomhomes.com. And if you scroll down, I've actually got a testimonial right there. Ben P, bottom left, because he built my home. What do you need on top of a home? It's a roof. If you have any roofing questions, go to lionsroofingco.com, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. They got free estimates there. And they have you not only covered, pun intended, in Southern Indiana, but also Louisville. So 812-294-3595, commercial, residential, and new home builds. And they can help you out with some financial stuff as well. Speaking of which, if you go to their careers section, there is, a roofing repair technician job opening right there. Again, that's 812-294-3595. Speaking of job openings, we're talking about it every morning. It is construction season. Libs Paving, L-I-B-S, paving.com. Top asphalt paving contractor around. Just top right, careers, click on it. It might take you to a new career for you. I mean, I won't read them all off, but they've got job openings galore here. And of course, you can level up your career. Ivy Tech Community College, Sellersburg. Go to locations here at ivytech.edu. Click on the Sellersburg section. You belong here. Their fall sessions began Monday. They've got a second fall session if you want to register and learn more about that and more about their 42 different programs offered and counting. And you can always get one-on-one information and check out their campus live and in person. With Tuesdays at the Tech, you can schedule a visit right there. And again, learn a whole lot more about that. All right. Also, my buddy Michael Long, American Family Insurance. I was texting with him yesterday because for you new college parents, you might look into the child away at college discount. So if your child is not using the car very much, there's a potential discount for that. There's discounts for good grades. So if you have kids, look into some of those discounts and have that discussion. If you want to quote, go ahead and reach out, 812-578-3072 to Michael Long, or you can just message him right here. He's got a landing page at amfam.com and just search Michael Long. Proud to be an American Star Certified Agency Excellence in Customer Experience. All right, moving right along here, and we're going to get your forecast back up. And we got a good morning popping in from Laverne Bannett. Thanks for tuning in there from the Knobs. And your weather headlines, again, if you're just popping in here for this August 27th, our hump day, dry weather pattern continues. Rain chances next week. We will look at our long range forecast here in just a second, which is Ben on a limb. we're going to go on a limb and look at the long-range forecast here in a little bit, which does have some changes in it, which it always does here in the Ohio Valley. Again, our play ball forecast, we're looking at mid to upper 70s this afternoon, very low humidity, northwest wind at around 5 to 15. And as we look at those low temperatures, again, in the 40s this morning, over the Hoosier State, over the Commonwealth, low enough for some rare air, a record low of 47 in Lexington this morning. That old record was back in 1968. Now, hey, it's a nice weather pattern, but for a meteorologist, it's kind of boring. So typically I was giving you 3 stupid summer jokes. I'm going to give you 4, a bonus joke because of how stupid these jokes are, but these are autumn related right here. So why did the apple pie go to the dentist? Because it needed a filling. All right, these are really PG. I mean, this is the best you're going to get from me. What do you call a small pepper in late autumn? A little chili. Kind of like it is right now. How do trees get on the internet? They log on. Again, these are free. These are all free jokes here for you. What is it called when a tree takes some time off? Paid leaf. Bum, bum, bum. All right, we're moving on. Here's the countdown. Before 8 p.m. sunsets, 1 week away. These are all signs of autumn. That's why we had these autumn jokes. Autumn begins in 26 days. Highs in the 70s, typically highs in the 70s in 28 days. We're getting that early fall tease right now. Average highs in the 60s, October 19th in 53 days. Today in your weather history, a tornado struck downtown Louisville on this date in 1854 around noon. It touched down around 25th Street, lifted at the intersection of 5th and Main. And then that was close to where I used to work downtown. Although the tornado was only on the ground for a little over 2 miles, it claimed 25 lives. As you can imagine, there wasn't good warnings back then. Many of those who perished were killed in the Third Presbyterian Church, where 55 people were gathered for Sunday services. So always interesting weather history, no matter what date it is. Looking at a few more comments popping in here. We've got, again, if you're just joining us with these comments, you can see at the bottom of your screen, we are going to have Brad Weddington live if you have a question or for anything around your home. Jeanette Pierce, good morning from Litchfield, Kentucky. Love the weather. Have a wonderful day. And Vicky Berger up from Salem. We were in Salem yesterday. They beat us in tennis. Glad to see you today. Couldn't get on yesterday. Thank you so much for tuning in, Vicky. Lillian Lasley, good morning. 64 at the house now after some 50s earlier today, I'm assuming, or maybe some 40s earlier this morning. And Beverly saying the daughter and the son-in-law on their honeymoon in Florida and Disney. She said it rained every day. Ugh, that is a bummer there. Sorry to hear that with perfect weather in our backyard. Angela, good morning. Beautiful fall morning. Funny jokes. Have an awesome day. Thanks for all the emojis there. And my mom, Lori Young, who Brad built her house. Mom, you got any questions for Brad? Here's your chance. Beautiful. Hi from Grandma and Ma. Mom, say hi to Brad for me. He's listening. He heard you say hi. So he's got the hi there. I can see him waving in the background. We're going to pull him up here in just a second. All right, let's get back to that forecast, and he's going to be popping right up here in a second. Brenda popping in from Gulf Shores. Beautiful Gulf Shores. Miss being down there for fall breaks. Again, if we want to complain, even though the complain train is shut down because of our beautiful weather, pollen. It was affecting, I think, my son at his tennis match yesterday. He was sneezing and all that stuff. So ragweed is the issue. Very high UV index. You can still get that burn out there with a very high level of 8. The forecast summary today, 78 degrees. Just a wonderful Wednesday, mostly sunny. Northwest winds at 5 to 10, and our sunset at 8:10. Dennis Gregory up in Bedford. He got out for an early morning walk, which I need to get out and do as well. I need to take the dogs out. I've been feeling bad. The dogs have been kind of cooped up a little bit lately with all that's been going on. Cheers to you guys here. 56 our low for tonight. So the AC continues to get a break. Pretty calm conditions across the area. And that forecast here for tomorrow, Thursday, August the 28th, very similar to today, although maybe a degree or two warmer up around 80 degrees. Sunrise 7:09, sunset at 8:18. The big old 7-day forecast here for you. I've just put the wording isolated on Friday. Most models are dry, but there is a front that'll move through. All that does is reinforce the beautiful air for the weekend. So that rain chance, I would say like 5% chance or less Friday, maybe a sprinkle out of a cloud or something like that. So really not putting a chance on that part of the 7 day. 78 Saturday, Sunday 81, lows in the 50s. The lake water cooling down for our Labor Day weekend, but probably still tolerable, but definitely has cooled down. Even was quite a bit cooler last weekend. And then Labor Day Monday, 83 degrees. You got the mayor's hike, bike, and paddle. Other activities going on. We're in good shape there. Isolated chance of a shower maybe Tuesday, a little better chance late next week, which we will see with the long-range weather model data here coming in. And Christian popping in with, I don't like fall or winter weather. None of those. Spring and summer, warm weather. I enjoy it hot. And I used to be just like you when I was younger, Christian. But as I get older, I start to like this fall weather more and more. So bringing up to the stage is the man of the hour here, Brad Weddington. Good morning, Brad. As we've said, every time we've had you on the show for months, you've always had perfect weather in the backyard.
Dude, I try to bring the sun. Yeah, I always tell people, if it's going to rain, it's because I'm taking my boat out. Okay. So I haven't been taking my boat out
I get that.
very frequently this summer. So we've had some nice days.
So this man is Brad Weddington. He built my home. As I mentioned earlier, he built my mom's home. If you have any weather or questions about custom home building, that process, or anything about that, but also anything around the home, he knows a lot more than most of us do. Maybe if it's the basement to the roof, the walls, outside the walls, into the yard, drop a comment or question here for Brad, and he will answer it for you. Let me go ahead and bring up this picture here. Now that is a monster. We haven't showed off a lot of what you have built, but this is what is it, like 6,000 square foot?
You include the basement, it was actually a little bit larger than that. Unbelievable. And in the style, so for so many years we've seen a lot of I call it the modern farmhouse with the white hardy and the dark overhangs. People are going now towards darker hardy, lighter stone, darker overhangs. It's all about just the contrast of it. That's the big thing that we're seeing now.
So let's go through the history here. Like I feel like in the 90s, early 2000s, you had like the brick McMansion kind of thing in the neighborhoods, and then kind of switched to craftsman style. That's kind of what we have once we got into 2010s. And I feel like right after we built our house, maybe a few years after, started to see the farmhouse style. But now over the last couple of years, I feel like it's been that trend towards like the white black kind of look.
Yep,
is that what you're seeing?
You're right. Like when I first got in the industry, late 90s, early 2000s, you were still seeing a lot of the red brick, white windows, white overhang, traditional look. And then early 2000s, you kind of started seeing to where people were going with more of the natural colors. You had a little bit more of the brown bricks, tan windows, tan overhangs and gutters. Then you transitioned into, call it 2010 range. You started seeing more craftsman-y homes, then into the white and blacks, and then now we're into the darker colors. It's a cycle. It's pretty cool because you can just see how trends come and go. And who knows, one day we might circle back to red brick and white windows, but it's just the transition, the way the business goes and the way people's tastes change. And, that's definitely in a stately looking home.
Can you predict this in any possible way, or does the person, your client, are they seeing the trends and bringing them to you, or is it kind of a combination?
It's a combination of both. Now with the internet, people can look up trends all the time. So information just travels faster. It used to be, call it 20 years ago, I would tell people, hey, if you don't want your house to be outdated in 10 years, go out west to a large city and see what they're doing there. And then that's going to eventually be here in about 10 years. So it's just phases and trends. They come and go. The style of the homes change, but my big thing is, the bones of the house never do. So
yeah. Now styles might change, but Do you think there's going to be a trend? Because I think we all feel it, and this is not political at whatsoever. I don't care who's president. I don't anything like that. But prices are higher. There's been inflation over the last several years. I've seen some trends. I've been out camping where people are going towards uh, like campers that are on top of a truck bed or smaller off-road kind of campers. Do you think that might be a trend where people start to build these, more efficient, smaller homes, or do you, I know you probably want these big old homes like we just showed to build, but what do you think might happen down the stretch here? If you're trying to forecast like I try to forecast, putting you on the spot.
Definitely doing that. I mean, the truck bed campers, all of that, that's cool. I mean, it's cool for a temporary thing. What you run into, especially in this area, you get closer to population centers like we are. We're in the Louisville metro area. Our counties around that have a little bit more rules and regulations because of that. So, I know in Clark County, the minimum square footage home that you can build is 800 square feet. A lot of people don't realize that. So there is a minimum size that you can build.
Okay.
They're going to have to be on a foundation. There's certain restrictions, and they're there for your safety. They're there for the longevity of the home. Temporary things like campers and stuff like that. I've looked into those, but more for, hey, let's throw a
Have some fun.
truck bed
Yeah.
camper in the bed of my truck and let's go out west and have fun. But as far as living, and I hate it. I remember when prices went up in 2020 with the lumber and everything, and that was really the first big push we had on pricing. And I'll never forget, I went to a homeowner and I had the pricing together and I presented it to him and I looked at him and I flat out told him, I was like, hey, I'm embarrassed about this number, because because everything had went up so drastically and the numbers just were where they were at. And luckily some people have adjusted to those. But when the price of materials went up, it's just like almost just like taxes. Once you get a tax, it's hard to get that tax to go away.
Right.
I mean, I remember back in '08 when fuel prices went up astronomically and I started getting fuel surcharges on invoices. Okay, that was '08. Guess what? I still get on invoices, fuel surcharges. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that have come and that haven't gone away. One of the biggest things for us as a country is just we've gotten so used to lower interest rates. I mean, we've all become victims of that, to where we got used to, sub 3% interest rates. And when those went away, people had a hard time. And I understand that because they're hovering right at close to 7% right now. So that's one of the biggest drivers on the market is going to be your interest rates, because, let's just face it, people want to see what their monthly outflow is going to be. And that's what it comes down to.
And it's just a reality. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think our first house is like 6 or 7%. And then we got lucky. We've talked about that before, where it was down to like less than 3% locked in there. And you just can't get rid of a rate like that. And so I feel for folks that are wanting to build or buy a house in a market where it goes up like this. But now looking ahead here as well, we have this little autumn tease that we have with this nice cool air. We start to think about the fall season. Anything that we should be prepping for, like my wife and I were talking about, as your house gets older, we're now over a decade into our house, might just buy some like weather stripping or whatever for around the doors if you see a little daylight or whatever. So maybe just some prep stuff.
Yeah, yep. Those weather stripping, that's a cheap fix, real cheap fix. I mean, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and they'll have tubes with that weather stripping stuff down in it, and you just grab a couple pieces. I think they're $4 or $5 a pop. And each door is going to take 2.5 of those pieces. So, you're less than $15 in resealing a door. That's a cheap, easy way to save energy. It's easy to help combat what we're getting ready to combat too, Ben. And you have a lot of history with this, and that's those lovely orange ladybugs.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about.
I mean, that triggers me because I mean, where we live, we get a swarm every year, but I did find that if you get that Ortho Max or whatever, that bug spray and hit the outside walls, it does help a little bit. But depending on where you live, those and the stink bugs, they come in an army, and
They do.
right around Halloween.
And they sneak in, and it's like I've had homeowners call me and go, I've got there's something leaking big on my house because I've got these bugs everywhere." And I'm like, it doesn't matter how good your
Yeah.
house is sealed; those things will get in. I mean, they're trying to find somewhere warm for the winter to post up, and they'll crawl their way through every little nook and cranny to try to get their way into your house, and it's beyond frustrating.
It is, and there isn't a lot you can do about that, as I've found out here over the years. But anything else as far as winter HVAC or anything else you can think about? Driveway
Always
cracks.
make sure, if your AC has struggled a little bit through this summer, maybe it's a good time to have a checkup, before we go into the winter to make sure that all systems are go for when we go into the winter. For those of us that live in rural areas like me, I've got a propane tank that runs my furnace in the winter. I'm going to check it, make sure I'm at least, at least 70% fuel on that tank. The max that we can do is 80%, but I'm going to
Yeah,
check that. And something that people don't think about a lot is if you've got some spots in your yard that are bare because of the heat and just weed growth
I
and
do.
items
Yeah,
like that, we're going into one of the most perfect seasons for seeding your yard to get that good germination for spring. So that's, a
yeah,
lot of people think about springtime, planting grass, getting it growing, but one of the best times to really prep your yard is going to be over the next month and a half or 2 months. Really, really getting some nutrients to that grass and helping that root system through the winter.
yeah. So you remind me about two things. My propane tank's down to like 20%, so I'm gonna have to figure that get that thing filled up for the wintertime. Hopefully the propane prices will go down, and then also next week I talked to a golf course superintendent because his job is to grow grass, and when it was hot last week I asked, should I be doing that summer weed and feed? He said just wait because the grass can't take much more right now, and really I'm feeding the weeds at this point.
Yep.
But next week when we get some rain chances coming before the rain hits, you mow the yard, it might be a good time to put down some of that weed and feeding and fertilizing, and then setting up your lawn for in good shape for the fall season. Now, looking here at this picture, let me bring it back here. Look at this stud muffin next to the Arca car right here. So, tell me what you've gotten into here over the last, I don't know, few years or so.
I've just got involved in a little bit of racing with, that's Will Kimmel. That's Kimmel Racing out of Clarksville, Indiana, local hometown team. Um, we race against the big boys a couple times a year, and one of the times that we're going to do it is it's coming up September 20th, Salem Motor Speedway in Salem, Indiana. Guys, it's a good time. It's a little half-mile track. We'll have some nice cars there from all over the country. It's ARCA's a
Mm-hmm.
nationwide series, so you'll see the up and coming drivers, and it's a good family time to go and with the kids and have some excitement. And
Do you know what
it's
that race
fairly
is
reasonably
called?
priced. Do what now?
Do you know what that race is called?
I think it's the Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200, I believe is
Okay.
what it is. Um,
So, and you can I think you can camp out there too, right?
you can, yeah, they have campgrounds there. A lot of people camp out for the entire weekend. As we get closer to the event on the Wednesday prior to it, I'll let you know because typically we have that car based at the Menards in Clarksville the Friday before the race for a meet and greet for the drivers. So once
Oh,
we get
cool.
closer to that, I'll get you the exact time and location. So anybody that tunes in can stop by and meet Will, check out the car, and hopefully I can talk Ben into hanging out there for, an hour or
Yeah,
so, and maybe you'll
I'd
be able to
like to
see
for
Ben.
sure. Yep, that would be nice. So keep reminding me on that, and check it out there at Menards. When was that Menards? You said possibly.
Well, the race is the 20th, so if I was a betting man, I'd say it's probably the 19th that it's going to be at
So right
Menards.
before it.
But as it gets closer, because Menards sponsors the series, it's the Menards
Yeah.
ARCA Racing Series, and anytime a race is close by, they're going to have a local driver at a local store, and it's just really neat. People come out and meet him, and we go up there, and like I said, we race against the big boys. And last year we finished fourth, not too bad. I think we
Not too
fielded
shabby.
27, 28 cars, finished fourth, so.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've never been. I've golfed right by the Salem Speedway before, but so we'll check that out. Thank you so much, Brad, and we always find a lot to talk about. So we'll see you next week as well. As I know I think you're closing up on a new home build pretty soon.
Oh yeah, we got one they're moving into end of next week. Beautiful home, and I think you might even be on site for that next week. So
we're going to definitely try to work that out. So all right, enjoy that weather out there, buddy. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Yep, keep more of it coming.
All right, we'll do. See ya. All right, there it is, Brad Weddington from Weddington Custom Homes. And again, if you have any questions, you can leave them at the bottom of your screen, and we'll bring up that forecast here for you as well, as it, again, remains very nice across the area. Oop, let me bring it back up. So the dry weather pattern continues. Rain chances next week in a fall-like weather pattern. So we're about to go into the long-range outlook. If you're just popping in, here's the 7-day forecast. Just wanted to fast forward through some graphics before we pop up the weather graphics here for you. But there you can see it is a nice long run of some beautiful weather. Mary Dale, fun listening to you and Brad. Thank you so much. And again, if you're watching the replay or you're watching a little bit later, if you have any questions for Around the Home, I can get those to Brad, or we'll address it next week. So thanks very much, Mary Dale, for watching and tuning in here. All right, so another live look out there. It is gorgeous all across the area. Green light there on Vincennes here at the corner of Vincennes and Market in Uptown New Albany. And as I bring up the regional radar and satellite, you can guess what's happening here. It is clear as clear can be. Now, here's the setup. As I do a little bit of a drawing, this is the center of high pressure. So there's not going to be much of a breeze out there. And the air is flowing in a clockwise fashion around high pressure. And on the edges of high pressure is where you're going to find some of these rain chances. But high pressure in the atmosphere is sinking air. So the air actually needs to go up to create clouds and rain and all that good stuff. But when you have sinking air, like we have across our area, you're going to get a lot of sunshine. Now, we will have a front move through Friday, but it's going to move through mainly dry across the area. So there's a slim to no rain chance for a long time. And again, any rain chance is really confined out to the west, and then that little sliver that goes through the southern plains and up through the Rockies. And then looking off to the south, maybe a little bit near Mobile. But, I mean, again, really quiet conditions across most of the United States. And we've been saying quiet here for a while. Well, let me see if there's anything in the tropics that we can talk about. And that is Fernand, that's heading way out there in the middle of the Atlantic. I don't see anything else developing. System out in the Pacific. So things are quiet on that front as well. Let's bring up the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day outlook. So this will take us through next week. And there you go. It's showing much of the eastern 3/4 of the United States under the likelihood of cooler than normal conditions through much of next week as well. So we're going to get a reinforcing shot of this nice cool air for the weekend. We're looking at upper 70s, around 80 degrees, maybe a tick warmer as we head into early next week. And then another front is likely going to come through late in our next work week. So that is what we'll focus on here with our weather model data, our future radar. So if I bring up the future radar, there just is not going to be much to show. I'll try to bring up a little bit of green on the NAM weather model with the reflectivity, but we got to go to Friday. So that is the 29th. So let's go here, and there's nothing there. Yeah, the latest update with the NAM not even showing anything. Not even a blip there Friday as this front moves through. The dew point map. So what this does on Friday, it just brings in a reinforcing shot of this really dry air Talked a lot about dew points. Dew points in the 40s this weekend. And so this is not a short stint with this fall-like air. This is continuing for quite some time, just a little more humid for areas down over the deep south. So there you go. More refreshing air for the weekend. Now, we need to jump ahead with the GFS weather model. We'll go to Labor Day, the 1st of September. Still dry air in place over the region. As we go into Tuesday next week, it gets just a tad bit more humid, but these dew points still aren't that bad in the 50s, low 60s. We may get an isolated shower by that time, but it's a super small chance. Now, the European weather model next Wednesday, that is the 3rd of September, started to show a front moving in. It's like a day or two ahead of the GFS weather model. So the long-range models are a little off on the timing mid to late next week on when we might see a decent chance of rain by that time. And by this time right now, we need that rainfall as it's been too dry. So now that we're looking past the 7-day, that means it's time for been on a limb. Here, cheers there with Big Happy again. All right, so let's see what happens if we go into the 4th. This would be Thursday. Okay, now we're seeing some organization here. Notice there's 2 different air masses. You have this right here, sharp contrast between a bit more humid next Thursday and then that Canadian dry air. That dry Canadian air. So what this is going to do, it should shoot up our rain chances late next week, mid-late next week, which we need. Brief increase in humidity, maybe around Thursday-ish. We'll be updating that with that rain chance. And then possibly as this front moves through, let's go to next Friday. I think that'll be the 5th. Yeah, the 5th of September. If the front moves through, then we get another shot of this Canadian air. This would be Saturday. Now, in this weather model, it kind of gets hung up around, say, I-64. The European weather model has it moving all the way through, and we get this nice dry air. The GFS kind of hangs it up a little bit. So we're kind of on the edge of humidity or really dry air. So that would be the big weather pattern change kind of here late next week. If we can get that much needed rain chance first, a day on either side of next Thursday is where I would say we get that next good rain chance. And then past that, the following weekend, if that front moves through, we're back into some amazing, refreshing air. Let me bring up the reflectivity here. That is your what looks like typical rain chance. So I'm going to go to, I said the 4th is Thursday. So let me go back to the 4th. So it has that rain up to the northwest. As we go into Friday, there you can see the chance of rain starting to kind of increase across the area Friday into next Saturday. We're talking the 5th, 6th of September. So that would be a welcome rain chance across the area. Again, that would be late next week if the GFS is correct. The European weather model, again, a little more eager, a little more progressive with that front moving through a little bit sooner late next week. Now, as far as those temperatures go, say we have that front move through. This is showing those 70s again for the following weekend. We got 70s this weekend in your forecast, upper 70s this Saturday, Sunday. We might have more fall air kind of rushing in. That's why the Climate Prediction Center, their long-range outlook, I just showed you their 6 to 10-day outlook, which shows the potential for overall above average chances of below normal temperatures. So trending towards below normal temperatures over the next week or two. If I bring up the forecast data here, this is the 8 to 14-day outlook. So this takes us beyond the 7-day forecast to, a couple weeks from now into the first, second week of September. Notice that it also has much of the United States under below normal temperature regime. So there you go. We've got the potential for these shots of fall-like air that we have not had all summer long until basically now. So we can kind of get used to this. As we talked with Brad Weddington from Weddington Custom Homes earlier about starting to maybe be a better time to fertilize the yard. If we can start to get some rain chances late next week, maybe putting down some of that seed and kind of repairing the lawns as we're not stressed by the extreme heat. And good luck. I'm looking at some comments here. Good luck to you, Christian, with the Carmel Fire Department. No, I do not see any rain chance there for you, Christian. Lillian Lasley, have an awesome day. Thank you very much. So again, that is the long range data with overall below normal temperatures. Let me go ahead and bring up the future radar again, but I'm going to slap on the upper level winds up at the jet stream. And we got GFS, we got 500 millibar. I'm going to go to basically right now. All right, so it doesn't show it super good, but this is the jet stream taking the dive. We've talked about this. This is what's causing this overall pattern change, the dip in the jet stream like that. So that will be kind of the overall trend here for us. Looking up the temperatures for today, I'll just bring up her weather model. And so we are nice and cool here today, 70s. You're looking at hot stuff out in California. Way down south here, but overall, again, for us, look at the below normal temperatures. Let me bring up the current temps and dew points. So that it's not just us that have been enjoying this. There's a front way down here along the Gulf Coast, off in the Atlantic, and this is the big sprawling area of high pressure. And look at the blue colors there. That is the great weather that we've had across our area and much of the United States. So just, again, rare air. Lexington had a record low this morning of 47 degrees, beating the old record by 2 that was set back in 1968. So you can see there the warming trend here over the last couple of hours. And let me get out of full screen here. I'm going to stop this. So now we can see 60s across the area. And now I'm going to bring in the dew point map. Dew points to measure the water content in the air and how good it makes the air feel when the dew points are low. So there you can see that carving of Canadian air all the way down south, even feeling good over all of Alabama, even some lower dew points into Florida. So that was a powerful Canadian front that we had move through and give us this supply of autumn-like conditions. And again, it's not over with yet. Looks like this pattern will last for quite some time. That's kind of the big news here is that while it might get a tad bit warmer next week, we could have these reinforcing shots of Canadian air kind of winning the battle here for us. All right, that is your long-range outlook. I'm going to get back to the forecast. Again, folks tuning in at different times of the day. We had some jokes that we were telling earlier. So here you go. For your weather headlines for your August the 27th, here at 10:43, dry weather pattern continues. Rain chances next week, as we saw with the GFS weather model, but the overall fall pattern continues. Forecast today, mid to upper 70s this afternoon, northwest wind at around 5 to 10, maybe a gust of 15. These were the weather observation stations with the Indiana Mesonet showing 40s this morning in the Hoosier State, in the Commonwealth in the 40s as well, with that record in Lexington. And our stupid autumn dad jokes. I don't think I can do this on camera, but I'm gonna tell them again. Why did the apple pie go to the dentist? Because it needed a filling. What do you call a small pepper in late autumn? A little chili. How do trees get on the internet? They log on. What is it called when a tree takes some time off? Paid leaf. Silence. Okay. How many days until? Those are before 8 p.m. sunsets. 7 days away. Autumn begins in 26 days, average highs in the 70s and 28 days, average highs in the 60s and 53 days. So there you can see we're trending that direction. Had a couple comments popping in. What are you thinking about weather will be this winter? Typically, I'd kind of look out at the winter forecast, maybe late October, November, Vicki. So I have no clue what this winter will do. There's some people that have a vibe that we're going to have another hardy winter. And we'll see. I mean, last winter was a pretty good one. We're starting to get these shots of Canadian air that are winning out. So again, we'll look at some of the what we call teleconnections. You're looking at ocean water temperatures. You're looking at El Nino, La Nina, what it's trending, all those different ingredients. We'll likely put that together once we get into fall. But to be honest, it's just too early to tell. It'd be just a big guess. A lot of times it's a big guess anyway with those long-range outlooks. Low temps, Steve Gibbons saying low temps in the 40s in Brandenburg. Not good for the pool water or the lake water. Definitely cooling down a little bit. And Anita Meredith, loving it. Cheers to you guys. And Perry, it would be a great time to go to Tennessee now with the weather. Man, that would be awesome. What is it? LeConte Lodge. Someday I would like to book that. If you have a chance, go on Facebook and go to LeConte Lodge and Instagram. They do a daily picture from up there, out there in the Smokies. And the pictures, like every day, are awesome. Sometimes there's like fog, obviously the Smoky Mountains, and then you see the leaves turning before they turn here with that, like they're up at about 5,000 elevation, but special place there, no doubt about it, around Gatlinburg. All right, bringing it back up. In today's weather history, in 1854, a tornado struck downtown Louisville around noon. It touched down around 25th Street, lifted at the intersection of 5th and Main, only on the ground for about 2 miles, but claimed 25 lives. So that theory that tornadoes do not hit cities is false. They do not cross the river. It's false. All those things are false. A tornado will do what a tornado wants to do. So most of the people impacted were at Third Presbyterian Church, where 55 people were gathered for Sunday services on this date in weather history. This is one, I know, again, the complaint train is off the rails. We're not complaining about the weather, of course, with this really nice autumn conditions that we have across the area. But what might be impacting you is the high levels of ragweed pollen that will remain high for a long time. UV index, very high level of 8. You can still get a sunburn this time of the year. And your forecast today, 78 degrees, just a wonderful Wednesday. Hope you can get out and enjoy. I'm about to do that. I might have to mow some weeds here a little bit later today. Northwest wind at around 5 to 10, sunset at 8:19. At 56, our low for tonight, nice and cool, mostly clear and calm. Sunrise at 7:09. And the forecast here for tomorrow, 50s out the door, might be a degree or two warmer, but still low humidity across the area, still dry, 74 at noon, and 80 degrees for that afternoon high. And here it is, the 7-day forecast. We're looking at 80, 81 for tomorrow and for Friday. And then we're looking at upper 70s, low 80s for Sunday, Monday. Sunday might just stay in the upper 70s too. It was kind of a close call on that. So great conditions all across the board, with maybe a rain chance increasing next Wednesday. I'm just giving a kind of a nod to the Euro Wednesday next week. It had a front moving in a little sooner. The GFS was like Thursday, Friday. So that's what I'm saying, like on either side, a day on either side of next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, we might start to see an increase in rain chances as a front moves in. And again, by that time, we will need some of that rain across the area. All right, let me get back to this over here as we taking a live look outside. Things are nice. I'll say it again, quiet across the region. Live look here. And uptown New Albany. And I'm going to bring this one back up. As we just want to remind you, you can always get your weather resources here at extolmag.com/weather. covering all the area. There's your 7-day forecast, the interactive radar, which also has your area temperatures, your winds, alerts, anything you might need right there. Always just like to check out the waterfront as well. It is what a morning it would be to take a walk along the fossil beds there, along the Falls of the Ohio. This is the fallsoftheohio.org, fallsoftheohiofoundation.org. And there you can see some folks out there, maybe volunteering, picking up some trash, some driftwood, beautiful blue sky all across the region. How about that? And a shout out to our partners. We can be here because of them and because of you. And Vicky's saying that we have not a cloud in the sky, just a beautiful day out there. Yes, indeed. And Lions Roofing, they got you covered here, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, that being your home. LionsRoofingCo.com in Indiana or Kentucky, 812-294-3595. Free estimates there online as well. And my buddy Michael Long, I had to chat with him a little bit yesterday, learning more about a child away at college discounts, whether to do that or not. You've also got discounts for good grades. You know, in this economy, you want to find some discounts. Talk it over with your insurance agent. Maybe get a quote here with Michael, 812-578-3072 with American Family Insurance, amfam.com, and search Michael Long. You'll find that landing page right here. Proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer experience, and just a bunch of great reviews right there as well. And if you go to the career section at Libs Paving, maybe you know somebody, a family member that needs some work or a new career, they can get you set up right here and online as well. You just go down here and apply online and click learn more, and you're going to be able to just apply right there. You can also register for those second fall sessions. The fall session began at Ivy Tech Community College in Sellersburg Monday, but there's a second fall session if you want to level up your career. Also, remember, for your high school student, you can save thousands of dollars in post-secondary education through the partnership with Dual Credit, DC courses, and through partnerships with Prosser. And so they've got partnerships with organizations and businesses all over the place, really powering the workforce here in Southern Indiana and beyond. Exit 9 miles north of Louisville, the Sellersburg campus. So check them out. And you can also get hooked up with Tuesdays at the Tech. That's where you can go on the campus and to get a tour, get one-on-one support. They'll help you out with tuition, aid, and all that you need right there. And a shout out to my buddy, Brad Weddington Custom Homes. Again, he built my house, my mom's house, most of our neighborhood. And you can go here to Weddington Custom Homes if you want to learn more. You can go to testimonials. You'll find my testimonial right here, among others. And so if you're looking at a new home, there you go. And if you have any questions about your home or just things around the home, again, we had Brad on for an interview right around, 10:15 this morning. Feel free to drop in a comment or a question for Brad. We'll get him back on next week for Wednesdays with Weddington. Always fun to check in with Brad. All right. Hey, Christian, hope you get to enjoy those spring and fall breaks there. And I'm going to leave it here, I think, with Vicky's comment, our last one of the morning here at 10:52. We've been talking a while on a wonderful Wednesday morning. Not a cloud in the sky. Have a beautiful day out there. One last reminder, you can always find me on my page on Facebook, Meteorologist Ben Piney. You can also get us at Extol Weather. Our live feed is up there. And then sometimes I'll cut shorter videos so you don't have to necessarily watch the whole live stream. And I'll post those on Extol Weather, the Weather Extol Extras you can find there. And Extol Media on YouTube is where you can find us and like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And extolmag.com/weather. Again, we'll leave it with Vicky if that's the last comment popping in. And I wish you guys a great Wednesday. We'll see you at same time, same place. And what we're looking at in the long range is some weather pattern changes late next week. We're going to be fine-tuning that forecast here day by day. Looks like it'll be a lovely Labor Day weekend if I don't see it. All right. Have a great one, and we'll see you later.